And maybe,
like I say, if they're playing for anything, then you got to take the Bills today. That's
yeah, I'm taking the Bills. Yeah.
There was rumors that see if Adams gets a bunch of targets though.
There was rumors he might not play.
What?
Yes, he's questionable.
Let me adjust my DraftKings lineup. I did not hear that. Why? Was it injury or something else?
Yeah, injury. I'm not sure what it is. I think he's had a nagging injury. But yeah, they talked about him not playing. Because I think he hit his incentives already.
Really?
That's it. Like 10 touchdowns and whatever.
Okay.
So we all went
He
Bills.
is active. Okay. Yeah. So it is a hip thing. He is active. But I am nervous now. What were you saying, Ray?
As they're saying, we all went Bills.
Yeah.
I think we can move to the Cowboys Eagles
sure.
game.
Woo!
Cowboys
Eagles,
plus 7.5.
the next game.
Over unders 37.5.
Yeah,
Plus 260 if you're betting on the Cowboys. Minus 325 if you're betting on the Eagles.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb is an absolute stud and is the reason that the Cowboys have remained interesting for the last few weeks. And they finally shut him down. He's been hurting really bad for the last 3 or 4 weeks. He's been dealing with the AC joint sprain, and every time he goes down on his shoulder, you kind of cross your fingers a little bit and hope that he gets back up because it looks like it hurts. So I'm surprised they didn't shut him down last week after they found out they were eliminated. It must have been just one of those things where he was already part of the game plan, was like preparing to suit up and was like, I'm going to play today, or something like that, So
He doesn't have any contract stuff up or anything like that?
he has a new deal. He got his new deal in the offseason. So it looks like the Cowboys are starting to look towards next season. I'm going to say it again. Why are we not playing Trey Lance? Why? Why is Trey Lance not playing? Especially now at this point. We're out. We know Cooper Rush is no kind of like future answer to anything. Why not play Trey Lance?
I think
someone
the locker
explain that
room
to me.
probably knows the answer to that. Like I've heard nothing but bad things about Trey Lance. Like I haven't heard anything positive about him in years.
And I've heard the opposite.
Really?
I've heard that he's done everything that they've asked him to do, that he's a great teammate, and that there are a bunch of players who like him. But Cooper Rush has been in the building for 5 years, 6 years, something like that. He's been with the Cowboys his entire career. So it's really annoying. But there are like still, it seems like some people who value seniority to a fault. Because that's the only thing that I see here is that Cooper Rush has quote unquote earned it, and it's like, okay, he's earned the right to be your primary backup. The season's over. He's never going to be more than a backup. You know that he's never going to be more than Cooper Rush can hold on to the rest of this game for us. Because as soon as Dak went down for the year and Cooper Rush was going to be the starter, our season was over. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew the season was over.
All right. So next up, you're going Cowboys, right?
No, I'm not. I'm not today.
Wow.
I want to be right. I want to be right.
Never
Fair
Eagles.
They shut the season down. I don't have to pick them, right?
Yeah.
Now the Cowboys are going to win, and it's going to be hilarious.
It would be funny because it would be really, really, really funny if the Cowboys win today and the Commanders win today.
So we have an Alex in chat that wants to know Rico Dowdle or Spears.
Spears, not even close.
Spears,
yeah, there's no Pollard today. He's playing against Tennessee, who just got shredded.
Yep.
They look like they couldn't tackle last week. So yeah, I would I'm sorry. He's playing Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Sorry. He's on Tennessee. Yes, I would definitely play Spears today. That's like the sadness I have about this season is that he's on that half PPR dynasty team. And if I had just been like ballsy enough to play him the last couple of weeks, he's like, I'm pretty sure if you combine weeks 15 and 16, he's a top 5 running back.
That's crazy.
Thank you for the
I'm
question,
pretty sure.
Alex.
Yeah.
Don't forget to
Don't play
subscribe
Dowdle.
and follow. Next up is the Carolina Panthers versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Carolina Panthers is plus 9.5. The over/under is 47.5. Plus 380 if you're betting on the Panthers. Minus 500 if you're betting on the Bucs.
And I was actually just looking up to see if the Bucks had anything to put, if they needed to play for,
Oh yeah,
their spot.
They have to. They have to win. They have to win out, and they
so.
they have to win out, and they need the Falcons to lose one.
Right. So definitely playing your Tampa Bay people.
Bucky Irving, obviously. I actually think this game's going to be really fun.
It might be interesting because, like I said, Carolina is seeing what they have in Bryce Young right now, so they're not packing it in for the year. They're actually like out there trying to win and play and see what they have. So this could be a better game.
They knocked the Cardinals out of the playoffs last week.
Yeah, well, the more we see the Cardinals, the more we're like,
hey, I've been an anti-Kyler Murray guy for a while. Like I really, still just like I he just doesn't feel like an NFL quarterback to me. And I got a nickname for him too. Like I figured, Scooter. Because when he runs, it doesn't look like he's running. It looks like he's scooting.
Dude, I really enjoy watching him scramble. Because when he runs, like, I can't believe he gets those little legs going so quick.
He uses both of his arms too. It's not just his legs; it's both of his arms. Like he runs so hard. He moves.
He's so hard. Like him and Pacheco.
Yes,
they run the same.
100%.
Thank you, Alex. We appreciate that.
Yeah. It feels very much the same because it feels like he has to move every piece of his body in order to get it.
He's trying so hard. Yeah.
But another thing about that is he's starting to close. What is he? 27, 28 now?
Something like that.
And what has he done on the ground this year? Next to nothing, right?
Yeah, a lot less than
next to nothing. Doing, And if he's not going to do that stuff on the ground, he's not a difference maker anymore.
And fantasy-wise, all of a sudden he becomes like before he used
unstartable.
To be, he was very consistent. He had that floor.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So you always wanted to have him on your team because hey, even if he's not your number one quarterback, he is a consistent guy to have on your team.
Even if he has a bad game, he's going to score 15 points.
Right.
In your 6 point per passing touchdown because we're talking one touchdown is all. If you get one touchdown from him, it's hard not to get 20 points.
Right.
Was how it was going into this year, and he's completely turned off the running this year. And he just he can't stand in the pocket. He can't see over anybody. He can't throw over anybody.
He needs to be out on those edges.
Yes. And a prime example of that was last night as that game was ending. I don't know if you saw this play. There was a really great catch made by Michael Wilson on the sideline. No, it wasn't. It was Zay Jones. It was a Zay Jones spotting. And if you watch the replay, Trey McBride is wide open, crossing in the same line of sight. Mm-hmm. And if he throws it to Trey McBride, it's an easy completion, and he probably gets more yards than the completed pass that he made, which looked good on the replay in terms of the spot on the ball that he put on the ball and the catch by the receiver. But I'm always thinking, did you make the best play?
Right.
And he obviously did not make the best play. And the reason he didn't, and it's one of those ones you can't miss it. There's no way to miss this. They completely let McBride go. It wasn't even just that he was open. There was nobody covering him. And he didn't see it. Because he misses those things because he can't see over people.
So next up, we're all going Bucks, right?
Yeah.
Next up, we got Colts versus the Giants. Colts are minus 7.5. Over under is 40.5. Minus 410 if you're betting on the Colts. Plus 320 if you're betting on the Giants. All my homework shows that Flacco is playing today.
I hadn't heard that, so that surprised me. But as soon as I started looking things up, that was definitely the case. So Flacco is the quarterback. And, early in the year and last year, we would have been like, whew, yes. But now it's man, Flacco had 3 games that were just
There were 2 games in a row that were bad, and they had to go back to Anthony Richardson.
Horrendous.
But the first 2 games were good.
Yeah. So there is that.
And it was good enough that they said Flacco's going to be our guy. And then the other 2 were bad enough that they were whoa.
I meant he's going to be our guy for 2 weeks.
Yes. Have you met our other guy?
Right. But give me Indy because, like I said, they got something to play for and whatnot. So.
All right, yep, me too. I'm going to Indy as well.
I'm actually going to go Giants at home because this is one of those games. The Giants are such a bad franchise that this is one of those games that they win.
Just to mess themselves up.
Yeah. And I mean, it's tough in New York. Like I actually think you should downgrade the Colts in New York with Flacco playing as
Because
opposed to
of
Richardson.
the weather? Or?
Yeah. I haven't actually checked the weather. Games outside in New York are just, they're chaotic, and you really don't want your fantasy players playing in them.
I'm just saying, like,
And Richardson,
weather-wise, Flacco's used to bad weather.
but Richardson can run, and that's the difference. Is like Flacco's not going to run, and that Giants defensive line actually isn't terrible. I'm not sure if they. I haven't been paying attention to their injuries and start sits and stuff like that, but this just feels like a good lone wolf. I'm not like they're definitely going to win, or they're definitely whatever.
Not a hat bet, huh?
This is not no, definitely not. I'm definitely not putting a hat bet on the Giants, but I will take them to win this game.
Crazy.
Next up is the Raiders versus the Saints. Raiders are -2, over under is 37.5, -125. If you're betting on the Raiders, +105 if you're betting on the Saints. I think I might go Saints after that embarrassing loss.
And I was going to say, this is kind of a toilet bowl kind of game. This is not. These are two really bad teams, but I'll tell you. I mean, Spencer Rattler's looked horrible, and he's the quarterback for the Saints, and he just does not look good. And then on the other side, Vegas. After Vegas wins that game, like, you'd think that all Vegas fans are like, we need to lose. We need to get a better pick, right? After the Raiders win last week, the owner comes down and celebrates with the team like it's the freaking Super Bowl, like they just won the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So these guys are not tanking. They want to win. They are playing hard, and that's what I'm going to base my pick on, because I don't think New Orleans is. But I think the Raiders are playing hard this week, or for the rest of the year here, which is kind of funny.
So this is an opportunity for Brian to catch up.
There was a moment in last week's game where, and I can't put my finger on it right now what it was, but I remember like the Saints weren't aware of a specific rule or something like that. They didn't know there was some. They just didn't know what was going on, and it was a coaching thing. And that's one. So I don't want to pick the Saints to do anything right now. Because
everybody's out
and
nobody's
the Raiders
starting.
and there hasn't been much talk out of Raiders camp about replacing Antonio Pierce. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if they replace him, but also, like, considering Brady's become a new partial owner. Most of the time when teams get in there, when new groups get in there, they want to like put their imprint, and there's been so little talk about it that it really wouldn't surprise me if he comes back again next year.
I agree with that, and like I say, with the owner coming down and celebrating with him and everything, that just tells me that
they like him.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So I think they might be putting this year up to, hey, this is what